What's going on out there, YouTube? John the Laser Blue Junkie coming back at you again. Unfortunately, this is take number 2 because the live video that I shot, only a couple people actually got to watch it, and there was an error in uploading it. So the video ended up getting lost, and I have to start all over from scratch. So for those of you who caught it live, cool. You won't have to watch this again. This is just, consider this an alternate take. But for those who didn't get to see it live, consider this your new update video. So I have gotten a bunch of new Laserdiscs over the last like 2 months or so, because I think it's been 2 months since I shot the last video. Got a bunch of new DVDs and Blu-rays, and I got a nice little surprise at the end for you guys, so be sure to stay tuned. So we are going to kick it off with the Laserdiscs, and we're going to do Laserdisc Forever members, not too many of them this time. First person I'm going to thank is Alex Bochco, who gave me the hookup on a bunch of titles I needed to fill in some gaps in my collection. We will start it off with Steel Dawn, great Patrick Swayze flick. Only ever seen it one time, but been wanting to get it on DVD, but it's kind of hard to get. There is an overseas release Blu-ray, but I've been too lazy, haven't picked it up, so glad to have that on Laserdisc. This one was very surprised. I was able to get this for a good price because I needed this for my Trauma collection. Finally got a copy of Death by Temptation. Great movie. Only seen it one time, but I really did enjoy it when I saw it, so glad to have that one on Laserdisc. This one did get a Blu-ray release recently, but when it popped up on Laserdisc, I had to go for it. Shakes the Clown, Bobcat Goldthwait. Great freaking movie. If you haven't seen it, check this sucker out. This one, I heard of it through a couple of rumblings, heard it has never been released on DVD, and when the chance to get it on Laserdisc presented itself, I hopped on it. Strays. Never heard of it, but price was right, so couldn't complain. This one, been wanting to get it too. This does have a DVD release, but wanted to get it on Laserdisc just because. Got Killer. Supposedly, this is a great freaking movie. James Woods supposedly gives a great freaking performance, and I'm all about James Woods, so there you go. This nice slice of B-movie heaven right here. Someone told me it was a good flick and had to check it out. Ninja Turf, couldn't tell you anything about it, but again, price was right, so why the hell not? This one, now I remember the guy who made a post about this, Brandon Petrie made a post about this movie saying how hard it was to find a rot-free copy of it, and just it's a hard-to-find movie on Laserdisc in general. There is a manufacturer-on-demand DVD release of this, but, you know, I'm not all about that, so I figured I'd grab it on Laserdisc. Finally got a copy of Reckless. Aidan Quinn, Daryl Hannah, supposed to be a really good flick, so glad I snatched that. And lastly, and this, I couldn't believe he was selling this because it's actually autographed by the director. They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Autographed by Sidney Pollack. Never seen the movie, but I heard it was pretty good, so glad to get that on Laserdisc with the nice little Sidney Pollack autograph right there. Next person, Matt Sherman, got a good set of 2 discs from that guy. Ended up getting this one, Meet the Hollowheads. Never heard of it, but it looked so cheesy and corny, I couldn't say no. And I'm all about bad B movies, so that looked pretty cool. Had to add one more Chuck Norris disc to my collection, Good Guys Wear Black. I do have this on DVD, but to get it on Laserdisc, why the hell not, right? And last Laserdisc Forever member, I did a trade with him, Mr. Mike Delgado. Traded him a copy of Raiders of the Lost Ark for 1 disc I needed to complete a trilogy in my collection, and it is not the Star Wars trilogy, it is the Delta Force trilogy. Finally got a copy of Delta Force 3. This is one of the only ones I haven't seen, but I really like the fact that this has you know, members of families from famous actors. Like you got Nick Cassavetes, who's related to John Cassavetes. You've got Eric Douglas, who is Michael Douglas's brother. You've got Mike Norris, who's related to Chuck Norris. You got Matthew Penn, who's related to Sean Penn. But then, as a good measure, they give you John Ryan, who was in It's Alive and a bunch of other good B movies. So I can't wait to check that one out. Next seller. We are now onto eBay stuff, by the way. This one seller, a lot of people have been giving him crap recently. His name on eBay is The Ultimate Shopping Center. And he's actually a pretty cool guy. I have never had an issue with him. I've only ever gotten like 1 movie from him that had a little bit of rot, but it was okay. I really didn't complain about it. But I've never had an issue with the guy. His packaging isn't that great, but everything I've gotten was safe. So had to kick it off with Wild Wild West. I will preface this by saying I do not own this on DVD. I do not own this on Blu-ray. This is the only format I own this movie on. I am not a big fan of this movie. I never have been a big fan of this movie. The only reason I got it is because it is the very last Warner Brothers Laserdisc ever released. This and Mickey Blue Eyes. So as a, you know, time capsule artifact, I figure why not? I'll pick it up because it was like dirt freaking cheap. I do have this on DVD, but I've been wanting to get it on LaserDisc for a while. This is brand new, factory sealed. Village of the Damned and Children of the Damned. Two great movies. Glad to have these on LaserDisc finally. These were shot in full frame, so they're probably going to look just as good, if not slightly better than the DVDs. This last one I have not seen in a very long time. Up until about a year ago, you could only get this on LaserDisc or VHS, but Kino put out a brand new Blu-ray of it, and that is Certain Fury with Tatum O'Neal and Irene Cara. I remember seeing this when I was probably 8 or 9 years old because I was on a New World Pictures kick, and I was trying to rent like every New World Picture, videotape that I could come across in my video store. This was one of the ones I came across, and it turns out this was a really good movie. So glad to have that one in the collection. One other seller, I had to grab 3 movies from this guy. 3 great movies that I've been wanting to get in my collection for a while. So we got Return of the Killer Tomatoes. This is just the jacket because the disc is in the player right now. I've been watching it. We have Killer Tomatoes Strike Back. You'll notice the little cut right here. This was a bargain bin title. There's a little hole punch right there too. So this was a bargain bin title at a record store, like a Tower Record or something like that. Also got Killer Tomatoes Eat France. So glad to have those. The only one I don't have is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I do have that on DVD. The LaserDisc just goes for a lot of money. Like on a good day you can get it for like 30-40 bucks, but I keep missing it. So but glad to have those on LaserDisc. I'll get the DVDs of the like the only DVD I have, funny enough, is Return to the Killer Tomatoes is the only one like I actually have on DVD in addition to Attack. I want to get the DVDs of Strike Back and Eat France, but that went out of print, and they're just I'm slacking a little bit. I'm trying not to spend that much money. I'm trying to find them out in the wild. So my last eBay purchase here. Been waiting for this one to pop for a good price. I owe my buddy Jeremiah Johnson a huge favor for pointing this out to me that it was cheap. Finally got me a copy of Arena. Excellent, excellent Charlie Band flick. Very glad to have this on LaserDisc. I did pass this up recently on DVD. There was a 4-pack over at Half Price Books that had this, America 3000, The Time Guardian, and it had like one other flick in there. I'm probably going to go pick it up again, or I'm going to go pick it up next time I get out there because it's only like $5. But I just didn't want to get it right at the time, but now I kind of regret not getting it. So that is it with LaserDisc Forever members, with the exception of this one. This is kind of like, I like to call him The Fence, Chuck Legg. He posted in LaserDisc Forever maybe a month or so ago, if not 2 months ago, about a big sale that was going on near South Chicago. This library had gotten in a gigantic donation to LaserDisc, like over 1,000 discs. And it started on a Sunday, but it was snowing really bad, and I didn't feel like making the drive. A couple other people did. You know who you are. You are much braver than I am. But I went the next day, and they had a fill-a-bag sale, and I walked out with a grocery bag full of DVDs, LaserDiscs, maybe a Blu-ray or two. A lot of it was stuff from my eBay store, but the LaserDiscs I kept for myself. So the first one we'll kick it off with is Prince of the City. Heard this was a really good flick. Been wanting to check it out. Sidney Lumet flick starring Treat Williams. So there you go. You'd think this might be a rotter, but it's not. It's been checked. It's very, very clean. This next one, I had just gotten this on Blu-ray, but was so happy to get this on LaserDisc. Sharkys Machine with Burt Reynolds. One of his best movies. Probably one of the best movies he ever directed. Such a killer, killer flick. Was glad to get it on Blu-ray. Am exceedingly happy to get it on LaserDisc. This next one is an Abel Ferrara flick. I had never seen it, but for like, you figure 10 or 20 cents a movie, I'll give it a shot. Friggin' Dangerous Game. I've never seen it, but I bought it just because Abel Ferrara made it, because he did King of New York, MS-45, Miss 45. So Abel Ferrara is a great filmmaker. This one I'm glad I picked up because it's a Canon flick made by Norman Mailer. Tough Guys Don't Dance. I just got this because it's a Canon flick, so there you go. I couldn't tell you anything about it. This next one I picked up. Now, I had found this movie on DVD at a pawn shop for like $1, but it turns out the DVD was going for like 40-50 bucks on eBay. So I figured I'd rather, take the cash, and if I found it someplace else down the line, I'd get it. And I found it on LaserDisc for like 20 cents. So this movie called 29th Street. Again, never heard of it. Couldn't tell you anything about it. But I know the DVD goes for some money, but the LaserDisc is still cheap, so why the hell not? Movie we've all seen, but this is a completely 100% rot-free DADC pressing on top of that copy of The Net, Sandra Bullock. I was just glad to have a DADC version. I sold my other copy that had like a tiny bit of speckling on side one. I gave that to Moikey for free. And like I said, Moikey, if you're watching this, man, we miss you in the LDF. We want you back. So come on back. We're not going to bite. You know, we promise. So anyway, this next one, I picked it up on DVD for like $1, but it was worth like 10-15 bucks. I figured I'd sell it on eBay because I bought it on LaserDisc for 20 cents. The Killing Fields. Heard it was a phenomenal movie. Never seen it. So but I heard of it at least. So I'm wanting to check that one out. This one I hear is a very underrated Burt Reynolds flick based off an Elmore Leonard novel, Stick. I know it was not well loved when it came out, but I heard it's gotten more popular over time. Like, I think it just came out on DVD. You can get it at Walmart for like $5, so that's a pretty good deal, because it was only like on LaserDisc for a while. This next one I saw when I was a kid, but I haven't seen it in a long-ass time. Body of Evidence, again, for 20 cents. Why the hell not? I just know I liked it a lot when I was younger, so had to represent good old Chicago to get this movie. Frickin' Judgement Night. Awesome movie. Severely underrated Emilio Estevez flick. Dennis Leary in this movie is incredible. There is a region-free German Blu-ray that just came out, but I keep holding out the hope that Warner might do a copy of this, because I say Warner because even though this is obviously a Universal disc, this movie was made by Largo Entertainment, and Universal had to surrender those rights back to Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers now carries like the whole entire Largo Entertainment films, and this is one of them. So Warner just put out a on-demand DVD of that. So, but there is, like I said, there's a release in Germany and it's region free, but I'm gonna hold off on that for a little bit and see what happens out here. It may come out, Warner may do their own version, so you never know. Had to get a copy of this one because my last copy was really rotted. Mommy Dearest, what can you say about it other than no more wire hangers? There you go. This next one, John Hersfeld flick. If you've never heard of John Hersfeld, he did 2 Days in the Valley and most recently a movie called Reach Me. This was his very first film, Two of a Kind. John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, was not a popular film. As a matter of fact, when 2 Days in the Valley was being promoted back in 1996, they tried saying it was John Hersfeld's first film, which was a total and complete lie because they tried burying this one because of how bad it was. But us real film fans, we never forget. So there you go. This one, I was glad I found it. The jacket is a little beat up, but nothing some glue can't fix. Michael Mann's Manhunter. I prefer this to Red Dragon. This is a much better film. Yes, Anthony Hopkins is a phenomenal Hannibal Lecter. I will not deny that, but I am a stickler for movies that are based properly off the source material, and Red Dragon was in no way, shape, or form as close to the source material as Manhunter was, because in this, Hannibal Lecter was just a secondary character. He was nothing. This movie's surrounded about the Tooth Fairy, and in Red Dragon, they tried shoving Hannibal Lecter straight down your frickin' throat, so I did not like that. I prefer Manhunter, so much better flick. Awesome movie. This one I probably should have kept on the shelf because I had no idea there was a widescreen version of this, so maybe if I come across a widescreen version, I'll do a giveaway for this. So, Fame. You know, good 80s flick. I like it a lot. So, great soundtrack. So, glad to have this. But, like I said, had I known then what I know now, this probably would have sat on the shelf. So, last two I got from that library sale. This is my third copy of this on LaserDisc, American Werewolf in London. I have the live widescreen disc and the MCA Universal disc. This is now the Vestron version of this. So, it's probably the same transfer as the MCA. This just has digital sound. Maybe it's a little more cleaned up. But, yeah, was glad to get this one, so I got all 3 copies of that. It's like my favorite frickin' werewolf movie of all time, and like one of my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time. So, this last one I had to get. I said that I couldn't believe that the people who got there ahead of me, you know, did not pick this up, because I was very shocked to see this sitting on the shelf when a stranger calls. I do have this on Blu-ray. This is a great freaking thriller. This does have, like, a tiny bit of speckling on both sides, but, like, it's hardly noticeable. You can barely see it. You know, it's a product of the 80s, you know, 80s manufacturing, so, you know, what the heck, there you go. So, glad to have that. So, we are done with the LaserDisc, so I'll timestamp it. The 14-minute and 54-second mark, you can tune out and go do whatever else you want to do. But we are going to do DVDs and Blu-rays now, so we will kick it off with stuff that I purchased, you know, brand new off the internet through stores and everything like that. So first up, we got good old Justice League. Say what you will, I enjoyed this movie. I'm not going to get into why I enjoyed it. I just enjoyed it. It was better than Batman vs. Superman. You know, I think it's on par with Man of Steel, but Wonder Woman is obviously like the best DC Extended Universe movie. So I would have gotten this on 4K, but since it's in this Digibook format, I have like all the other DC Extended Universe films in Digibook, so it's kind of a thing. I have to buy them in the book packaging so they all match up. But we are talking about 4K. I finally bought my first ever brand new 4K Blu-ray, and why not kick it off with my favorite franchise of all time, Star Wars The Last Jedi. I really did enjoy the heck out of this movie. Force Awakens was a tiny bit better, but almost on par. You know, neither Force Awakens or this are going to be better than the original trilogy, but at least both of these are better than the prequel trilogy. So I really did like Last Jedi a lot. It had a few problems, but on the whole, it was a great movie. Next up, and I'm going to seg you into why I had to get these. I picked up Enter the Ninja and Revenge of the Ninja. Now, normally I would wait for like a sale or something like that. Like Kino Lorber just had a sale, and these were not part of it. But the reason I decided to buy these was because of what happened with this. This is the Region B box set of the Ninja Trilogy from Eureka Entertainment. Now, I am region free. I do have several region free Blu-ray players around the house. Now, I got this for a really good price, and literally the day after I bought this, I kid you not, like the very next day, Shout Factory announced that they are doing a brand new 4K remaster of Ninja 3: The Domination. And that's just a great cheesy movie, so I was like so bummed out about that. And they're putting new special features, new interviews with, you know, Lucinda Dickey and Sam Furstenberg and all this other stuff, so it's kind of like great. You know, I just got so screwed. So, and to make matters worse, you know, when this came in, and this was something I should have researched, I should have known better. Enter the Ninja has about a little over a minute, like under a minute and a half missing from the movie due to animal cruelty. Now, while I am against animal cruelty in any way, shape, and form, I am also against censorship. That is why, you know, certain movies I won't buy, like Starship Troopers, the Japanese LaserDisc. Even though it's rot-free, it's missing a scene from the movie. It is censored. There's a few movies, like Never Say Never Again. You can get it on a region-free Blu-ray of it, but there is like a short scene missing because it is considered animal cruelty. I do not advocate censorship in any way, shape, and form. So, needless to say, I was really bummed out about this, and I said, screw it. I just went on eBay and ordered Enter the Ninja and Revenge of the Ninja. I used like a 20% off coupon, so I got them for a pretty good deal. So, this is in my eBay store right now. So, $25 and it's yours, or contact me directly. I'll sell it to you cheap if you're region-free, by the way. Because I did have somebody buy this, like literally, he bought this on Friday, and I had to give him his money back because he didn't pay attention to the listing that said, Region B only, you must have a region-free Blu-ray player to watch this film, and he bought it without reading it, and then he messaged me and said, oh, I didn't read that. I'm like, okay, here's your money back, get away. So, yeah, that sucks, but what are you going to do? People suck. But this one, again, another Region B stuff, because you know what? I am Region B because I know how to read and I have region-free Blu-ray players. American Ninja 1 through 4. The main reason I got these is because Olive Films did all 4 of these on Blu-ray, and it'll cost you about $60 plus tax to get them all. This was only $25. Unfortunately, this is the second pressing. The very first pressing of this was region-free. The second pressing, that was a mistake. It was supposed to be region locked. They did another pressing, so this is the region locked pressing. But again, I'm region free, so I don't care. I would rather have that anyway because it was cheaper. And the transfers are like the same, if not a little better. This one I had to get. I got this through a Facebook member in one of my cult film groups. Got a brand new copy of Basket Case. I now own this on Steelbook, Laserdisc, you name it. I love this movie to death. Had to pick up the new Arrow 4K restoration. One that I had never seen until recently, and don't judge me because I have not. I've seen a lot of movies, but I haven't seen them all. Friggin' Street Trash. Great, great movie. I am so glad that I bought this for like $10. Such a great movie. Wish I would have seen it years ago, but hey. There were other movies I was watching, such as Night of the Living Dead. Ended up picking this up from a one of the members in the cult group saying I got this for like 16 bucks. This is hands down the best Night of the Living Dead has ever looked on any home video format. The restoration that Martin Scorsese did with the museum was just outstandingly good. If you have the Japanese Blu-ray, though, hold on to it because it has the documentary that was not present on here. It's called One for the Fire. So this one I picked up, nothing too special, but X-Men The Road Cut, or X-Men Days of Future Past The Road Cut. Had to get this because this was the last X-Men movie I needed. And yeah, it came with the slipcover, which is really cool. Slipcover is like almost impossible to find these days. So ended up getting something through Cinema Sickness last week. I ended up getting Mr. Bean, The Whole Bean. And unfortunately, I ended up having to buy this as well, The Whole Bean, through the A&E Entertainment. I'll explain to you why. Two reasons. Number one, these discs have a manufacturing defect to where they will not play in my Xbox One, and when I try to play them in my DVD players or my Blu-ray players, they don't sound too good. Like you can hear the lasers having a hard time reading these discs. I think that this was a manufacturing defect on Shout Factory's part. The other reason is these since this was a European series, you know, European and American broadcast standards are a little different. You know, they shoot in 576, 576i, you know, and we shoot in 480i. Well, what Shout Factory did was they took those scenes and they downgraded them to 480i to give it more of an Americanized look, and I did not like that one bit. So, hence why I got the A&E version. These are not remastered. These look exactly like their original broadcast are supposed to look. And everything that's here is on that Shout set, except for a set of deleted scenes, which is unfortunately why I'm going to keep that Shout set around. This was cheap, though. I got this for like $5 or $6 shipped, and it was in mint condition. None of the discs had looked like they'd ever been taken out, so it was a really good deal. So glad to finally have at least most of the Mr. Bean stuff on DVD. Found this at a pawn shop. Had to get Jackie Chan's The Protector. I liked it a lot when I was growing up. I know Jackie Chan is not too fond of this movie, but I like it a lot, so there you go. Let's see. I'm debating whether or not what I want to do next. You know what? We will do this. We'll start off with, we're going to do something different because these are words you'll never hear me say. We're going to talk about an antique store. Yes, an antique store. I went on OfferUp and I was looking and see if like somebody had DVDs for sale, and this one antique store listing popped up. So yeah, we got like thousands of DVDs for like, you know, X amount of dollars a piece. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to find anything. It's probably going to be filler. Well, I was wrong. They had so much stuff. I probably dropped like 60, 70 bucks within 2 days on this place. I got like a bunch of stuff from my eBay store where most of it's sold already, because there were a couple titles in there that were like really high dollar. Like I think the most I got for like one movie was like 40 or 50 bucks, and I paid like $2 for it. So it was kind of like, yeah, it was good for my eBay store, but I got a bunch of stuff here for my personal collection. So all of it minus the very last movie is all Michael Dudek Off films. So whoever had these at this antique store, they loved Michael Dudek Off. So, and it worked out for me because I like him too. So we'll start off with we're gonna do this quick. I'm gonna start off with Chain of Command. I'll throw it just on the ground there. We got Bounty Hunters, Bounty Hunters 2, and of course I had to get these. This is before I bought the American Ninja set. I got these cheap, so I really didn't care. American Ninja 1, American Ninjas 2 and 3, American Ninja 4, the one that doesn't have Dudek Off here, American Ninja 5, which was actually another title that was, they just retitled it American Ninja, so what the heck. Cobra, the complete series. I didn't even know that Dudek Off did a TV show back in the 90s, so that was pretty cool to get that. Strategic Command, Fugitive Mind, which is done by Fred Olen Ray, which is pretty cool. Oops. Countermeasures, another Fred Olen Ray flick, so that's pretty cool too. Moving Target, I hear this one is actually like, this one goes for a few bucks, so I was glad I found that for cheap. So, Moving Target, Crash Dive, Quicksand, and like the one cheesy looking horror movie that I really want to watch here, Interceptor Force. So that one looks like pretty interesting out of all of them. So that's all the Dudek Off, and then my last one I picked up from them, I was really happy to find this. It's out of print, doesn't go for a lot of money, but I got it for me, Only the Lonely. Great John Candy flick, man. Haven't seen this one, definitely check it out. So now we are on to El Goodwill. I found this yesterday in the afternoon while my daughter was at preschool, and my jaw hit the floor when I saw this. Friggin' limited edition of Supergirl. I showed this on my Instagram page. This was only like $1.99. I could not believe it. Back in like 2000, 2001, I got this at a Kmart for $5. Now, Kmart, at least in my neck of the woods, got like all the Anchor Bay titles, and there were like so many Anchor Bay titles to choose from. They were only like $5 each. Back in 2003, I ended up going off to school, and of course I needed some extra money, so I figured, well, I'm going to be a college student, so I don't need a movie collection. And my movie collection wasn't that big at the time, so I sold off all my DVDs. Literally gave them to like disc replay, pawn shops, whatever. And Supergirl was unfortunately one of the casualties. When I got back from school and when I started doing a DVD collection again, I wanted to get Supergirl back, but yeah, it was out of print by that time, and was getting very hard to come by. Copies were going for like $40-50 online, and I was shooting myself in the foot. Copies occasionally do pop up on eBay for like maybe 20 or 30, but every time I see them, they're either in questionable condition or I just didn't pull the trigger fast enough. But yeah, $1.99 at the Goodwill. Finally found it. This is one of the ones I've been searching for forever. Warner Brothers has the rights to this now. They have the international cut out on DVD, but not the director's cut, quote unquote. If there is a Blu-ray anytime in the near future, I guarantee you this director's cut will not be on there, just the international cut. So very glad to finally have that on DVD. So now I got like all the Superman stuff. Found this one. We're going on to my other thrift store. This one is not my local one. This is like a couple blocks up the road from me. Found this one, Breastmen. I caught this on HBO when it first premiered. If you haven't seen this one, really check this movie out. Such an awesome movie about the guys who invented silicone breast implants. David Schwimmer and Chris Cooper are so awesome in this movie. This one, I remember catching trailers for this, Steel Justice. Would like to get this on Blu-ray, but I got it for like $1 on DVD, and it's Martin Cove, so I couldn't say no. This one I picked up the other night, Van Halen, Live Without a Net. Freaking awesome concert. Had this on VHS for the longest time, but finally got the DVD, excuse me. So that was awesome. We will file this one under one of the wackiest finds I ever had at that thrift store, because whoever would donate this, brand new factory sealed, and not even open it is beyond me. And on top of that, it's Blu-ray. Frickin' UHF. Got this for $2, brand new factory sealed with the slipcover. There is nothing that can be said about this movie other than the fact that it is so incredibly funny. It is so awesome. So was very glad to finally get this on Blu-ray. I went to this one thrift store in New Lenox. I go there once a week just to see if they have anything. I went there a couple weeks ago. I found a bunch of Warner Archive movies that, I put those in my eBay store. Most of those have sold already. But, occasionally I do find some stuff I want to keep for my collection, such as Queen Shrike Live Evolution. I freaking love Queen Shrike. I mean, this is a great concert, but, it pales in comparison to Operation Live Crime. Oh, yeah. Was so glad to find this. Operation Mindcrime is one of my top 10 favorite albums. I freaking love it to death. Was so happy to get this concert on DVD. So that just made my day right there. So hopped into my little local thrift store here and grabbed a couple of things. Ended up getting a copy of Helter Skelter. Freaking incredible movie. I haven't seen it in like the longest freaking time. So I was so happy to find this on DVD. Got this for like a cup, like not even $1, so I was so glad to find that. You know what? I'm going to move right here real quick because I got one more. This is part of the bonus, and I put it up there. I totally forgot about it. Also couldn't believe I found this. Now, when I found that Helter Skelter, that was after I found this next one. Like, I found like these NASA DVDs that had like space exploration stuff, and I found the Will and Grace Complete Series for like $5. And like, I kid you not, I sold the Will and Grace for like $70, and I sold this NASA stuff for like $55 on eBay. And you got to remember, I don't do this for like profit. I do this to like add more stuff to my collection, because like I showed you these Revenge and Enter the Ninja. How do you think I finance these? I mean, yeah, I work a 9-to-5 job, but I like to have extra money to play with to, you know, build up my media collection. That's why I sell on eBay, because I take the profits and I buy more movies with them, you know. It's not like I'm greedy or I use it as a secondary income. It's just for movies. But anyway, after I found, you know, before I found all that cool stuff along with Helter Skelter, I hopped in there, you know, a week before that and found this bad boy for $5, the Ed Wood box. Was so happy to have found this. I know a lot of these are on Blu-ray, but for $5, I could not say no. And, you know, most of his movies look rough anyway, so it's kind of like, yeah, you know, DVD's okay. I mean, these are okay on DVD. I don't need to have these on Blu-ray, so was really happy to get that Ed Wood box. So that is it for movies. So we will, before we sign off, like I said, I got some bonuses for you. This is just one of those things where it's not like I'm going to start doing this. It was just kind of one of those cool things that I feel I should, you know, tell you guys about, because a lot of you know I collect, you know, video games and stuff like that on top of movies. So we'll start off with about 3 weeks ago, I ended up getting a Sega Saturn and 18 games for $100. So that was like one of the biggest deals I got ever. The problem with the Saturn, it worked perfectly fine. It was in good condition. It came from a smoker's house, and the thing didn't really smell or anything like that, but the plastic, because of the smoke, had gotten really brittle over time, and the Saturn was starting to separate at the edges. I opened it up, and like 2 of the posts were broken inside of there. I super glued them back together, but I knew it wasn't going to be a permanent hold. I was also debating on whether or not I wanted to get the system modified, because as you well know, if you are Saturn collectors, Saturn is one of the most pain-in-the-ass systems to collect games for, because so many of them are so expensive. Like the one game, Panzer Dragoon Saga, is like a $500 game, and as much as I want to play it, I don't want to spend $500 on it. I know there are ways to, you know, not mod the system through hard mod. You know, you can get the pseudo Saturn memory card, but there are so many drawbacks. It was just kind of like, I really need to get a cool modification. So I ran into this guy on Facebook, and he said, yeah, he modifies systems. I asked him, hey, if I send you my Saturn, could you modify it? He says, yeah, I can put in a, you know, region-free BIOS, and I can put in a Phantom mod chip, so you can play burn games and you can play Japanese imports. I'm like, cool. You know, he wanted like $65, but one of the games that I got from the Saturn lot was almost worth $100, and I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you this game, and then I'll send you my Saturn. You can just modify it, and then you could do whatever you want with the game. You could sell it, you could keep it, I don't care what you do. And he agreed to the deal. So, and also he ended up swapping out the shell with this. So this is my now mod chipped region-free Sega Saturn with a Japanese casing on it. He had a spare Japanese shell that he threw on there. He put my motherboard, my, you know, my laser. The only thing original out of my Saturn is the motherboard and the laser. There's a brand new recapped power supply in here. Like I said, the whole casing it's in good condition, not the best condition, but it's better than what I had. And I already tried it out earlier tonight, and it works like a charm, man. I was playing Clockwork Knight before I shot this video, played a burn copy of that. So really happy to finally get a region-free Sega Saturn. You guys know out here that I am a Sega fanboy, and I'm only missing a 32X. So finally got a Saturn. So happy to have that. And last but not least, one of the greatest thrift store finds ever. I also collect for the Microsoft Xbox. I mean, I collect for everything, but I love the Xbox, the original Xbox. So many good games for that system. Ended up stumbling into the second rarest Xbox game ever made at my local thrift store, and you better believe when I saw it, I literally almost jumped out of my shoes with excitement, because I could not believe I found this game at a thrift store for $2 frickin'. Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. I will preface this by saying that I am not a fan of this game. I am not about, you know, Tycoon. You know, this is modeled after Zoo Tycoon, Roller Coaster Tycoon. I do not like simulators. I don't like games like that. I like first-person shooters, action games, yada, yada, yada. I just don't like this theme park stuff. But this game is heavily sought after on the Xbox. There was a PS2 and a PC version. Those are relatively less expensive compared to this. So yeah, this is like a $130 game. You know, like $100 on a good day, $130 for someone who's trying to price gouge you. I'm debating on whether or not I want to keep this, because like I could use the buddy for something else, but at the same time, this is a really cool collector's piece that I could just keep in my collection and let it depreciate in value. So we'll see what happens. I do not know. So that is it. Figured I'd show you a couple of game finds before I sign off. So I would like to thank you guys for hanging out with me for a little while. Sorry I had to do a retake on this, but you know, iPhones and YouTube don't get along very well. So that sucks, but hey, it is what it is. You know, I'm a stickler for art, so I figured I'd reshoot the whole thing. But before I go, I would also like to thank all of you for hanging out with me for these last almost 2.5 years now. I had just reached over 300 subscribers. Just checked, I'm at 304 subscribers, and I think that is actually pretty good. The reason I say that is because I am just a small channel. I am a guy who just, you know, likes to talk about movies, who likes to talk about video games, all this other cool stuff. I do not get, you know, ad revenue from YouTube or anything like that. If I ever do a DVD or a Blu-ray review, you know, I go out and buy it. I don't, you know, have the companies send me stuff. You know, I understand there are a lot of people out there that, you know, get free stuff from the companies to do reviews. I just do this as a hobby. This is for fun. And for the fact is that this little hobby of mine has gotten me 300 subscribers just through pretty much word of mouth is pretty amazing. And again, I would like to thank everybody who has subscribed to this channel over the last 2.5 years. I'm hoping that by a year from now we can hit 400, or at least by the end of the year. I would like to have 400 subscribers because, you know, I would like to be like those other guys and venture off into getting the companies to send me stuff and do reviews, like more or less not as a hobby but as like a tiny little job, you know, because I got some free time on my hands. I don't mind sitting back watching a movie, let you guys know what I think about it. So but on that note, I hope you guys all have a happy Easter, or as I like to call it, a happy Zombie Jesus Day. And we will catch you again sometime in the near future, because I do got a couple of more LaserDiscs coming in. And you know me, I'm always buying DVDs and Blu-rays anywhere I can find them. So enjoy the rest of your nights / mornings. And as always, do what I do. Keep it spinning. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.